Welcome to the Micropreneur Accelerator podcast. I'm the Micropreneur Accelerator. My name is Nina Sunday, and today I want to tell you a story where I attended a 10-day meditation retreat and the amazing life lesson that I learned, and I didn't know that was the lesson I was going to learn. Some time ago, I used to hear about, when I was living in Sydney, I used to hear about this 10-day meditation retreat that they have periodically. And I'd come across people that said, oh, I did this particular 10-day meditation retreat. And I thought at the time, well, you can't take a book and you can't draw and you can't write. You're supposed to just do the meditation and, I don't know, sit around in the in between times and reflect. And so what it was actually closing down all your external stimuli and not being creatively expressive. And every time I heard it, I went, oh, who would want to do that? And another part, then it would evolve and I go, oh, that person did it. Oh, gee, I wonder why they did it. Gee, I could never do that. And once I evolved to, oh, I could never do that, then I went, well, that sounds to me like a challenge. Maybe I should see if I could do that. And so I decided that I would go along, and there was one that was actually over the Easter break, so I didn't actually have any presenting bookings to do. So day one comes along. I'd bought a meditation stool so I could be comfortable, and I remember day one, an hour felt like 2 hours, and we used to have to be silent, avert our eyes. We didn't talk to the other people, and it really was a holiday or a retreat on your own, but with other people. And meal times became very important because that was really your main stimulation. Except I will say this, when you close off external stimulation, my dreams were very vivid and very surreal. When you close off the daily input that we get, the visual and the auditory input, it kind of manifests as extreme, creative, interesting, weird dreams. On day one, you just spend an hour just focusing on the sensation of your breath hitting your top lip. And then it went on. There was a particular technique that evolved over the period. There was a moment where I think it was just my imagination. I don't think it was real, but it was my imagination where I felt like there was this force coming towards me and another force coming from behind me, and I was in the middle, and it sort of all met in the middle, and I went, oh, this must be what they're talking about. This must be samsara or nirvana or whatever it is, the altered reality. So at the end of every every hour that you did a meditation, you could walk up and ask the master or the whoever is the supervisor, but the master sitting at the top of the room, you could ask a question. And I could hardly restrain myself. And he said, yes, what is your question? I said, oh, while I was meditating, there was this force that, or energy that just came towards me. And then there was another energy or force that came from behind, and it kind of met me in the middle, and it was incredible. And I'm saying it with all this enthusiasm. And I thought he'd say, the winner! She's done it! Instead, do you know what he said? Remain equanimous. I turned around and I walked back to my chair, and I think I even mumbled the words, what does he mean, remain equanimous? What does he mean by that? And I felt really put out. So anyway, that passed. And then as the 10 days, or as the days progressed, one thing I used to do on day one, it was in the mountains, and you could have this lovely view over the mountains. and it was nice, crisp weather, clear weather. And there was a mountain in the far distance. So I kind of measured 10 spaces between where I was and that mountain. And so every day at morning, when we go out and maybe just look at the outlook, I'd go, oh, well, that was yesterday, but now we're there. And then the next day, oh, now we're there. So I kind of spaced it out. And so that as we got closer to the final day, it was like I was getting closer to the mountain. It was just a little metaphor, visual metaphor. So the last day came and there had been probably 50 men on the left-hand side of the room, of the hall, and 50 women on the men on the left, women on the right. But on the last day, we could all mix and mingle, and if you knew anybody, you could have a chat. We were able to speak because we were getting ready to leave the next day. So we wanted to re-entry into the real world. And there was someone there that I knew who had done this workshop before. And, I told him about my experience, and he said, oh, yes, the whole point of this workshop, or one of the important points, is that when you can't control what happens to you, but we can control how we react to things. So you're not like an emotional cork bobbing around in the ocean, being carried from emotion to emotion. As things happen that you might react emotionally to things, it creates a wedge. Having done this workshop, you can create a wedge between that external stimulus and your emotional reaction, so you don't have to have knee-jerk reactions to life, and you can reflect and consider what your a reaction is going to be. And it just gives you more mastery and control over your emotions, your mental equilibrium, which is what equanimity is. It's your equilibrium, your mental balance. So I thought about that. And then as weeks and months and years have gone by, I now realize that that was probably one of the most important life lessons to have ever learned. Not only that, I found out that although I thought I couldn't, when I decided that I will try, I was able to do it. So I made the impossible possible. I also found out that not drawing, not reading, not writing wasn't that bad. It actually was a very lovely, de-stressing moment. And here's the crunch. I got back home because we couldn't really communicate with the outside world. So I got back home, and there was a message waiting for me in my voicemail, and the message was a friend saying, ABC Television has a production manager role, and they'd like you to speak to them about that role. Now, I ended up getting that role. I was production manager at ABC Television for 2 years before I launched my training business. And I believe that my taking this vision quest, if you want to call it that, doing this vision quest actually collapsed time. And it might have taken me a year or two to be offered a job at ABC Television as a graduate of the Film and TV School. I was qualified, but instead it came to me. And so the lesson has remained with me. So what is it? You can't control what happens to you, but we can control how we react. Until next time, bye for now.